Chapter 4, Runaways. Uncle Gard and Cornelia and Samantha were waiting outside Cold Rock House at exactly 5 minutes before 3 o'clock the next Sunday afternoon. They didn't want to miss a second of their visiting hour with Nellie, Bridget, and Jenny. They were all quite cheerful when they arrived, but they left feeling sad. On the way home, Uncle Gard fussed and fumed about the way Miss Fauci treated the girls. He had spent the hour talking to Bridget and Jenny. He had kept a serious expression on his face, hoping to fool Miss Fauci into thinking he was quizzing the girls on the multiplication tables. But really he was asking them, Miss Bridget O'Malley, where'd you get those wonderful curls? And Miss Jenny O'Malley, how did you make your eyes such a pretty blue? Bridget and Jenny tried to answer him just as seriously, but once in a while, they break out into giggles. Whenever they did, they looked nervously at Miss Fauci. She would narrow her eyes and frown at them. And when Uncle Gard tried to give them some sweets, Miss Fauci grabbed them away. Samantha and Nellie talked as much and as fast as they could, but 1 hour was nowhere near enough time. At the end of the visit, Samantha asked Nellie in a whisper, "Can't we meet secretly? What if I sneak over here in the middle of the night when everyone is asleep? I can tap on your window and you can climb out." Nellie laughed. "I have a better idea. What if you came in the afternoon on your way home from school? It's my job to empty the ashes from the fireplaces. I bring them to the ash cans in the alley out back every afternoon about 4 o'clock. Could you come then?" "Oh, of course," said Samantha. So every afternoon after school, Samantha hurried out to visit Nellie at Cold Rock House. Samantha had to be very careful to get there by 4 o'clock. If she was even 5 minutes late, she didn't see Nellie at all. Even though they met almost every afternoon, it never seemed that the girls had enough time together. While they talked, Samantha emptied the ashes into the cans so that Nellie had time to eat the food Samantha brought her. Nellie always looked hungry and tired and pale. Samantha noticed her friend's hands were red and chapped from the cold, so she gave Nellie her gloves. But the next afternoon, Nellie wasn't wearing them. Why aren't you wearing the gloves?" Samantha asked. Nellie looked sorry. "Miss Fauci took them," she said. "That old cat!" exclaimed Samantha. "Didn't you tell her they were yours?" "Yes," said Nellie, "but when I wouldn't tell her where I got them, she said I must have stolen them." "Stolen them?" sputtered Samantha. "She stole them from you. I'd like to march right inside and take those gloves away from Miss Nellie Fauci." "Samantha, don't," Nellie warned. "If Miss Fauci knew we were meeting, she'd be awfully mad. She'd punish you?" Samantha finished for her. Nellie nodded. "Did she punish you for the gloves?" Samantha asked. Nellie nodded again. "No dinner," she said. Samantha frowned. "From now on, I'll bring more food instead of things like gloves. You can eat it right away or give it to Bridget and Jenny." "That would be much better," said Nellie. "I bring as much food as I can sneak past Gertrude," Samantha promised. "She's our stingy housekeeper. She's already noticed I seem to need more food than I ever did before. It won't be easy, so don't you let fat old Miss Fauci get any of it." "Don't worry," grinned Nellie. "We'll eat it so fast she'll never get a whiff of it." As the days went by, the afternoons seemed to be getting softer. The sun was still as pale as a pearl, but every day more light and warmth found its way to the narrow alley behind Cold Rock House where Nellie and Samantha met. Then one afternoon, Nellie seemed much quieter than usual. She hardly seemed to hear Samantha's questions, and she put the apples Samantha brought in her apron pocket without even looking at them. "What's the matter, Nellie?" Samantha asked at last. "Has Miss Fauci been punishing you again?" "No," said Nellie. "Then what?" asked Samantha. Nellie slammed the lid onto the ash can so loudly it made Samantha jump. "They picked me to go on the orphan train," said Nellie. "What's that?" asked Samantha. "It's a train that goes out west. It's full of orphans from the city. The train stops in lots of little farm towns. People in the towns choose orphans to live with them and to work for them," Nellie explained. "They've picked me to go out west on the orphan train," said Nellie. Samantha was horrified. "But Nellie, You can't leave New York. I don't have any choice, Nellie said. Miss Fauci says I have to go. I'm trained enough now, and I'm old enough to work. Farm people might want me. What about Bridget and Jenny? Samantha asked. They're too young to go, Nellie said softly. They'll stay here. Oh no, said Samantha. You'll be separated. Yes, said Nellie, her eyes filled with tears. Nellie, we can't let that happen, Samantha said. You and Bridget and Jenny may never see one another again. She looked at Nellie square in the eyes. Now you've got to run away. You've got to come to Uncle Gard and Aunt Cornelia's house and hide, just for a while, just until we think of something else to do. Please, Nellie, please say you'll come. Nellie thought for a moment. If I could look for work while I was there, oh yes, said Samantha. You can go out every morning and come back in at night. No one will see you. I'll be sure of that. And I'll be sure you have food and blankets and everything you need. Nellie sighed. It's not a very practical plan, she said. It won't work for long, but it's our only choice. But you'll do it? Asked Samantha. Nellie smiled a little smile. I guess so, she said. We might as well try. Samantha hugged Nellie hard. Good, she said. Bring Bridget and Jenny with you tomorrow afternoon at 4. All right, said Nellie. I'll find a way. Don't worry, said Samantha. I'll plan everything. You'll see, Nellie. It will be fine. This will be your last night at Cold Rock House. I hope so, said Nellie. I certainly hope so. The next day after school, Samantha ran to Cold Rock House so fast she was there way too early. She waited next to the ash cans, hopping from one foot to the other, filled with nervous jitters. When the loud bell rang at 4 o'clock on the dot, Samantha stood perfectly still. It felt like forever, but it was really only a minute or two before Nellie, Jenny, and Bridget appeared. The two little girls looked so confused and fearful, Samantha tried to calm them. Everything will be all right, she said. Here, put these on. Samantha handed Bridget and Jenny shawls and scarves she brought to cover up their orphan uniforms. They're sort of disguises, she explained. She and Nellie helped Bridget and Jenny wrap themselves up. Nellie grinned. They're so bundled up they can hardly walk, she said. So they certainly aren't runaways. They're more like wallaways. Samantha smiled, but nervously. All right, she said. Let's go. She took Jenny's cold little hand in her own, and Nellie took Bridget's. The four girls walked in the tunnel of sunshine down the alley to the street, leaving Cold Rock House behind them. No one paid any attention to them as they walked a few blocks to Uncle Gard and Aunt Cornelia's house. Jenny trotted along next to Samantha trustfully. It made Samantha feel very grown up, like a big sister, to have Jenny relying on her so completely. She held Jenny's hand very tightly. Samantha led the way to the alley behind the house. We have to climb in this window in the basement storage room, she explained in a soft voice. The back stairs start in the basement and go all the way up to the top floor. When we get inside, we'll take our shoes off so no one will hear us. There's a door that leads to the kitchen right off the stairs, so be very quiet when we pass it. Gertrude may be in the kitchen. She notices everything and she's kind of mean, so just follow me and don't talk. Ready? Nellie, Jenny, and Bridget nodded. Samantha climbed through the small window into the dark basement, then reached up to help Jenny through. When they were all inside, Samantha tiptoed to the stairs to start it up. There was a lot of noise in the kitchen. Gertrude seemed to be banging pots and pans together, and the laundry wringer was going thump, thump, thump. As quietly as whispers, the four girls climbed the steps up to the main floor, up past the bedroom floor, and up to the very top floor. Samantha put her finger to her lips and slowly opened the door at the top of the stairs. She peeked her head out and looked around. No one was there. She motioned the three girls to follow her, and they quickly darted into the empty room across the hall. They all sighed with relief. Phew, said Samantha. I've been holding my breath ever since we climbed in the window. I was about to burst. Me too, said Nellie. She looked around the room. Winter sunshine made bright yellow patches of warmth on the thin, faded rug. Samantha had brought up lots of her books and toys to make the room look welcoming and homey. Jenny and Bridget sat right down and started to play with Samantha's pretty paper dolls. Nellie smiled when she saw the blackboard they used to have in the Mount Bedford school. Everything looks very nice, she said to Samantha. Thank you. It's a little cold up here, said Samantha. I'm sorry you can't have a fire, but I brought up all the extra blankets I could find. Gertrude's room is right down the hall. You'll have to be very quiet at night and early in the morning while she's up here. I hope you will be all right. We'll be fine, Nellie said cheerfully. Jenny and Bridget were hungry, so Samantha showed them the box of fruit and bread and cheese she'd smuggled up to the room. They both took apples to munch right away. I couldn't bring very much, Samantha explained. Gertrude keeps an eagle eye on the food in this house. But don't worry, I'll find a way to bring more next time. Nellie? Jenny asked as she played with the paper dolls. Do we have to go back to Miss Freshie at the orphanage tonight? No, said Nellie. We're going to stay here. Jenny looked glad. Does that mean we're not orphans anymore? Well, Nellie began. Samantha knelt down and put her hand on Jenny's shoulder. You and Bridget and Nellie are still together, she said, and you'll never be orphans as long as you have one another. And good friends like Samantha, added Nellie with a smile.